Thanks for joining us here tonight on Indivisible. I'm your host, John Stubbins, and we're thrilled to have you with us, folks. This is the show we put God, family, and country first, and we will always tell you the truth. I hope you're having a great start to the new year. Look, I want to just touch on this real fast. We are still accepting donations and raising funds for American Anarchy, our documentary that we hope to get released to you by this summer so that you can find out exactly where you have been lied to and get you the information that you need to make sound decisions when you go to vote. And that's coming up very quickly. Also, we were just on the Huckabee show just within the last 2 weeks. And I got to tell you, what a great experience that was being back with Mike. We went over the Adam Schiff investigation, which was critical. So I hope that you'll follow that. Go to Huckabee TV or Mike Huckabee Show online, and you can watch that show. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back with Nate Cain. By now, you've all heard me talk about Mike and his great products. Well, guess what? Mike's now introduced his MyPillow My Slippers, which are fantastic. Great on my feet, soft as can be. I love them. Mike's taken over 2 years to develop these slippers. He's designed them to wear indoor or outdoor all day, all night long. Made with MyPillow foam and impact gel to help prevent fatigue. Made with quality leather suede. For a limited time, Mike is offering 40% off his new My Slippers. The My Slippers are so comfortable, you're going to want to get them for the whole family. Go to mypillow.com and click on the radio listener square and use promo code Indivisible. You'll also get deep discounts on all MyPillow products, including the Giza Dream bed sheets, the MyPillow mattress topper, and MyPillow towel sets. Or call 1-800-716-4639 and enter Indivisible as your promo code.
Hunter Nation is the ultimate we the people in the conservation community, holding our elected employees accountable to the hunting, fishing, trapping, freedom lifestyle that has brought wildlife back to the healthiest and most thriving condition in our lifetime. HunterNation.org is the epicenter for freedom and wildlife conservation in America. I am Hunter Nation.
The Isaac Law Firm, protecting men and family court.
And thanks for staying with us, folks. I want to bring on now Brother Nate Cain, who is running for congressional candidate out of West Virginia, District 2. How you doing, brother?
Hey, I'm doing great. How you doing, John?
Good, man. It's been crazy before the holidays, during the holidays, after the holidays, trying to get caught up with everything. I haven't seen you since the Trump National event in November. That was a great event, and
that was absolutely an awesome event. I had a great time there, and was happy to be able to contribute towards what you're doing, and just really good turnout, amazing turnout.
Yeah, and we're thankful that you were able to come. Hopefully, you had a great holiday and an introduction into the new year. I know you're busy. In fact, that's one of the reasons why we wanted to have you on today. I know that you're one of the original signers of the Declaration of Military Accountability. So I thought maybe we would talk a little bit about that and just kind of tell us a little bit about that and why you decided to get involved with that right away.
Sure. So ever since COVID hit and the government started pushing out mandates, and I want to clarify something, because I hear a lot of people complain about Trump and his involvement and pushing on the vaccines to be created and everything. But one thing Trump never did, and he made it clear, he absolutely made it clear that he did not support mandates and he was not for mandates. That was 100%, on the Biden administration. And of course, we had back in the military in 2004, they adjudicated this issue already, that the government cannot experiment. They cannot, because of the nature of way that, military, we have an all volunteer military. And the fact is that, it's not like you can just say, oh, I'm quitting my job. I'm leaving. When you're in the military, you are basically under a contract and you're obligated to stay in there. And if if you leave, you'd be considered AWOL, or, you can get another than honorable discharge. Well, in 2004, they adjudicated that the government cannot experiment on soldiers, period. That means that they cannot coerce them into taking a experimental vaccine, even under a emergency use authorization, because they had an emergency use authorization for them to use the anthrax vaccine back then. And that was a vaccine that actually had been around for 40 years, but it had never been used off label to treat inhalation anthrax. It had only been used for subcutaneous anthrax in certain industries. And they had no long-term testing and stuff like that, human trials. And so there were many soldiers that had, various ailments and, claims of vaccine injury afterwards. I myself was forced to take that vaccine. I was required to take 8 booster shots. And if I didn't, they threatened to throw me out under a other than honorable discharge, which is basically, you might as well be a convicted felon.
Right.
Good luck getting a job after that.
Sure.
So, the fact is that, there were certain things that developed even with me afterwards that I think very well could have been from that. But the courts ruled and said, you can never do this again. So here came, COVID. They created an experimental vaccine, and it was an experimental vaccine. That's why it got the emergency use authorization, which allowed for those who were at high risk to take a chance if they wanted to use this vaccine. But when Biden took over, he forced it. And in the case of the military, it wasn't even Biden who authorized its use in the military. It was Lloyd Austin, and it was these flag officers and generals and admirals and vice admirals that basically passed down an illegal order in accordance with military law and military regulation. They said, we're going to go ahead and do this anyways, even though the law had already been adjudicated on that. And unfortunately, you've had now tens of thousands of our military soldiers that have been basically disabled because of this vaccine. You've got people who have been injured. You have people that have died because of it. And you have over 8,000 that were forcibly removed from the military. And many of these people highly trained, some of the most highly trained, Navy SEALs and Green Berets, Marine Recon, some of the most elite military soldiers and airmen and Marines and sailors that we had in our armed forces have been removed. And then that's not counting all of those that refuse to re-enlist or who resign their commissions. So it's a huge number of losses of the military. And this was done, like I said, against the law. A court has already adjudicated that they broke the law, yet there's been no accountability on these military leaders. And so what myself and many others, 231 of us to be exact, what we did was we signed a open letter. The open letter was drafted and written by Commander Rob Green, who is a current commander, still in the military. He is somebody who, has basically been very eloquent with the pen and wrote this open letter calling for accountability. He wrote it very much after the style of the Declaration of Independence, listing a list of grievances. However, it's not calling for independence. It's not calling for mutiny. It's not calling for, anything of that nature. It's calling for accountability. You see, in the military, we have something called the UCMJ, which is the Uniform Code of Military Justice. It is far more regimented than the civilian courts, and we have a process by which we can call back these generals and these flag officers, these admirals and vice admirals, bring them back and hold courts-martial to have them tried. And they need to be tried. And what some of us that are running for office have made the pledge that, Lord willing, we get into office, we will push forward with legislation to ensure that those that are convicted of those crimes lose their retirement. And I think that is what is needed. I think we have to restore faith and trust back into our military. And I think that's just the start. What happened to me, I was not in at the time of this incident. However, I was a defense contractor. In fact, probably one of the leading defense contractors in cybersecurity that had a working knowledge of our naval submarine fleet's weapon systems, and was one of the few people trained to do cybersecurity assessments on our submarine fleet. And yet, because of the rules that came down through executive order by Biden, which were later found illegal again,
right?
He pushed for the removal of anybody who refused to get the vaccine. And so myself, I quit my job and I moved on and started my own company. And there were many others, though, that were coerced into taking the vaccine, and that was within the contracting ranks, but also with government employees. And when you look at this as a whole, it appears to me that this was done with the singular purpose to expose anyone who had a spine and who was willing to stand up and say, no, you're not going to force me to do something illegal. And so what they ended up with was a compliant military, a compliant government worker, force, and a compliant contracting force. And so now anybody who had the wherewithal, who knows the Constitution, who stood up and said, no, I'm not going to do this and you can't force me to do it. Anybody that was a Christian that filed a religious exemption, which were wholesalely ignored by military leadership. Anybody who, is a conservative and doesn't believe, in using vaccines that are created from fetal stem lines, they ensured that they could find who those people are, right, and get them out of the military, out of the government, and out of our contractor forces. And it is, it's a terrible thing.
Yeah. And look, hold that thought, because I want to continue with that. We're going to take a real quick commercial break. We'll be right back with Nate Cain.
Here's to the overlooked, the overworked, the underappreciated. Here's to the fighters to preserve our freedom, our liberty, our rights, our faith. Here's to the workers, the farmers, the first responders, and those who serve so bravely in our military. Here's to Americans who proudly hold tight to our values: God, privacy, freedom of speech, life, and liberty. Here's to the patriots who love this country and everything it stands for, who should never be canceled for believing in America and the blessings of liberty. Finally, there's a bank for you, Old Glory Bank, named after the flag that represents the fabric of this great country and the people of Old Glory Nation, the engine of America. Now you have a bank that values your values. Now you have a bank that stands with you, no matter where you stand. Old Glory Bank. We stand with you.
Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Indivisible with John Stubbins is proud to support my friends Jim and Angela Holland and Set Apart Farms.
Faith-led and family-driven, we're doing things a better way for veterans and their families. For all the ways to get involved, go to setapartfarms.org.
And we are back with Nate Cain. Go ahead, Nate. I know you were going on there. Go ahead and keep at it.
So what we feel like is a necessity is we've got to start somewhere. And in this case, there was existing military law that was broken. And so we have a very good case, I believe, to bring these people back, recall them from retirement, people like, General Milley, and have them tried for violating law. And the goal is for people like myself and others. There were many that were running for congressional seats that were the original signers of this document. And for those of us running for office, we've pledged that we will do everything within our power legally to bring forth legislation that will remove the retirements of anyone convicted of this crime.
Yeah, and Miley, I'm trying to think of the other one. He just had health problems here recently.
Lloyd Austin.
Austin, yeah. Miley and Austin, haven't they caused us just about enough trouble already?
Yes. We haven't even gotten into, this letter.
We haven't even talked about the woke stuff. What they've done to the military in general.
This letter only deals with the violations of law that have to do with the vaccine. But you're right. They've essentially destroyed our military by introducing woke ideology into it, basically treating the military as a social experiment, allowing transgenders into the military, which of course have to maintain certain hormonal medications and things like that. This is ridiculous. We've never had this before. Our military fighting forces has never been about equal opportunity. It has always been, you have to meet certain standards in order to get in, and you have to maintain those standards in order to stay in. And the reason for that is because they are an emergency force that is the last line of defense of defending our country in the event of war. They are not a social experiment. They cannot be a group of people that are mentally ill, people who have medical issues that that they require certain treatments and things like that. It certainly should not be an experiment, nor should it be on the taxpayers to pay for things like sex changes. You have woke indoctrination that's going on, where they're basically pulling our military into training seminars where they basically force them to get indoctrinated into calling people by their preferred pronouns rather than training them to be war fighters and warriors. And it is something that I think that even our enemies are looking at us and they are laughing at us right now.
Sure they are. They're licking their chops.
That's right. So this accountability, like I said, it starts, I think, at the military. We have the ability to do something about it. And then once we've accomplished that, then I think we absolutely, there need to be hearings, and there need to be, lawsuits and civil suits and criminal suits for those who used their power and their authority within the federal government to violate the rights of American citizens when it came to this all over the country. Coercion is illegal. It is a crime. It's a felony. Right. And yet that is exactly what was done. As far as I'm concerned, the president of the United States, Biden, is guilty, as the commander in chief, for pushing this down, from himself, but also so are those who were complicit in it. Just like after World War II, we held Nuremberg trials, and those military officers within the Nazi ranks who perpetrated crimes, they were not allowed to use, I was just obeying orders. That did not work, and nor should it work in this case. And in fact, much of the Nuremberg Code was broken and violated in this forced vaccine mandate that was pushed out.
Absolutely. And we talk on this show constantly when you see what's happening in our country right now, not just with this, but with many other issues. I always refer people back to World War II history. And the reason I do is because it's so prevalent now, and it is truly history repeating itself. And pretty much any scholar that I've talked with on this show agrees with that. Go back and look at study Nazi Germany from 1933 through 1945. Okay. Study Russia's Stalin during that period and before that period. We talk all the time about this because a lot of people, they always refer to Hitler, but they forget that Stalin killed more people than Hitler did.
That's right.
Nobody talks about that.
Yeah, the forced famines. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it applies because you see what's happening in the world now, and you can tag it. Haven't we seen this before? Yes. Have we seen that before? Yes. I mean, for much of it, it's common sense, and it's frustrating that people aren't paying attention. So,
yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And the problem is that now, we're in a place where our nation, we've developed very advanced surveillance tools, which were never intended to be used on American citizens. And of course, I'm talking about Section 702 of FISA, which was reauthorized through the NDAA, the National Defense Authorization Act. I know about that. So disappointed in our, in our Republican Congress, because there were several of them that voted, for that reauthorization of Section 702 to extend it, out another 8 months, I think. And to be honest with you,
you know as well as anybody that I am an expert on that subject, because everything having to do with our documentary, American Anarchy, it starts with the FISA warrants.
That's right.
Okay. And what they did to Carter Page, how they got into the Trump campaign. People don't realize, they think FISA warrants, what's that got to do with me? That's so far away from me. No, It's not.
That's right. People need to, they need to think about this. The FISA stands for Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. Nowhere in there does it say domestic. The fact is that any kind of surveillance on American citizens or even on foreigners that happens on U.S. soil requires a warrant. And what Section 702 is it's warrantless search. It is searching, somebody's entire digital data that is being collected. And I would argue that even the collection of it is unconstitutional. But the fact is that we have collection that's going on all the time. But it gets worse than that, John. What we found out through the Twitter files was that the FBI was paying $9 million to Twitter in order to access and suppress stories like the Hunter Biden laptop story, which we now know.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. And the FBI is corrupt across the board.
That's right.
And believe me, the FBI and their corruption, it comes across and connects to every investigation we have.
It does.
Every investigation.
It does. And they also, remember Tucker Carlson, I think it was one of his last interviews, he had it with Elon Musk. And in that interview, he asked, Elon Musk said to him that when he took over Twitter, that he was shocked at the amount of access that government had. And Tucker asked him point blank, he said, including our DMs, which are supposed to be private, which we all sign, we sign a privacy agreement. And he said, yes, even the DMs, meaning that there is no privacy, that the government is looking at everything. And they're doing this as a way of essentially getting around the Constitution, which under the Constitution, we have a right to be free from illegal search and seizure, and the fact is that they are doing this through proxy, and the Supreme Court has already ruled that is illegal.
That's right. And believe me, I understand this as well as anybody. I'm one of the most heavily censored people out there. That's why I'm listed on that Section 230 lawsuit. And Facebook's coming after me right now, currently, big time. And I'm going to have to fight back on that. Everybody, make sure that you follow Nate's campaign at the bottom of the screen at Nate Cain, the number 4 WV for West Virginia. And you can go to Nate Cain's website now and donate. NateCain4WV.com. Thanks for coming on, brother. I hope you'll update us soon.
Thank you. Will do.
We're back, folks. Look, another great show. Nate Cain is a patriot. He's a brother. He's running for West Virginia, Congressional District number 2. Make sure that you get out and vote for him, West Virginia. He will really help you bring that state back together and do it in a way that is in line with our Constitution, which is what we need. Also, again, I hope that you will help out all of our partners. If you go to johnstubbins.com, you will see all of our partners listed there, from Hunt Channel to the First Hour for Men, to Set Apart Farms, to Old Glory Bank, all of our conservative partners that you're going to want to partner with to help you and your family. Until next week, God bless you, God bless your family, and God bless America.
We got any Johnny Cash fans up in this house tonight? Well, here's a burning thing, and it's made of fiery rain. Well, bound inside, I feel into a ring of fire. Y'all let me sing it. Say I'm into the burning fire. Down, and the flames went high. And it burn, ring of fire. Ring of fire. Y'all sing it till the fire. Let me hear it. Say da-da-da-da-da. You'll take what is sweet. And hearts like our feet. I feel for you like a child. Oh, and by the wild. Here we go. Into the burning of fire. Went down, and the flames went high. And it burn, ring of fire. Ring of fire. Play the guitar, son. This is our country. Do not forget who you are. Do not forget what your DNA is as an American. Do not forget it for one damn second. We stand on the shoulders of greats, and we're the next great set of shoulders. Can I get a hell yeah out of this crowd one time? Here's some Charlie Daniels. Crazy as a loon. I get up in the morning and get down in the afternoon. Kinda like my old blue chick hound. I like a bed round in the shade. And I ain't got no money, but a damn sure body's big. And I ain't asking nobody for nothing if I can't get it on my own. If you don't like the way I'm living, say just here comes the world. You think I'm bad, 'cause I'm breathing free at last, and you're still stuck behind your mask, and I'm offended. You're offended. Yeah, let's all get offended tonight. Hi, Lord, us a beer. We can sit down right here, screaming, yelling, cussing, fussing, fine. Passing out $100 bills and the kills and the thrill, like a horns on my Silverado grill. High by the bar, triple round the crown. Everybody's getting down in that town. It ain't never gonna be the same. Y'all see it. I said, oh, I'm riding through the city. And the girls say oh, if tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd worked for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife. Thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause our flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.